Can narcissists love? About narcissism and love. Questions about love and narcissism are asked a lot by those who love a narcissist. Can a narcissist fall in love? What is love to a narcissist? Could it be true there never was any love in my relationship or marriage? The questions above are quite painful because they are mostly asked from experience. Certainly after you've been let go of by a narcissist. I'm sorry if you experienced a narcissist or you're possibly dealing with a narcissist now. To answer to whether a narcissist can love is rather complicated, and I'll try to explain why. I'm aware that love could be experienced differently. So know this article is written from my perspective and my experience with narcissists. Some survivors know or think they are loved, others doubt if love was ever there, and some definitely know it wasn't there in hindsight. Sadly, it will mostly be a draining and brutal experience when having a relationship with narcissists. When dealing with narcissists or people that show a lot of narcissistic behavior, it becomes complicated to know or see what's the truth or feeling behind their loving behavior. So, do they simply have no conscience or empathy? And are they thus incapable of loving you? Because that's also very possible, right? That they're absolutely incapable of loving you. Or do they love in a different way? A narcissist can have quite an impact on your reality and manipulate your thoughts and feelings. They have the ability to show loving behavior, but is this similar to real love? What is love? About different forms of love. In order to say something about whether a narcissist can love, it's necessary to at least differentiate between different forms of love. I won't try to define love specifically, as everyone experiences it in their own unique way. There are different forms of love I'll discuss in this video. Unconditional love, conditional love, loving romantic behavior, love bombing, your own love for the other person and yourself. To be clear right away about whether a true narcissist can love, a narcissist can't love someone unconditionally, but they can love. This love could be real to them, but it will still be conditional love. The question then becomes whether you think conditional love is real love. A narcissist will give you love if you please them and you can fulfill their unending needs, which is impossible. To fulfill the needs of a narcissist, if even possible, you probably can't be yourself and you need to become a pleasing personality. It means you eventually will agree that the narcissist is more worthy than you. Love as a mirror. Some say love and relationships mirror the relationship you have with yourself. This would require you to have a healthy relationship with yourself to be able to have a healthy relationship with others. I agree, a healthy relationship with yourself is important, and if so, there will probably be a higher chance of having healthy relationships with others. When dealing with narcissists, however, it's not that simple to say that the relationship is unhealthy because you have an unhealthy relationship with yourself. This is because you can't blame a victim of the manipulative and brutal behavior of the narcissist. When in love with a narcissist, it can be impossible or hard to see the truth behind their behavior and what they are capable of. I think with a narcissist, it mostly works the other way around. A narcissist creates an unhealthy relationship by manipulating you into having an unhealthy relationship with yourself and by disconnecting you from yourself, which is a very, very good point. They sadly exploit you when you're vulnerable or try to make you vulnerable, dependent. When recovering, healing, it's therefore important to shift the attention to yourself and work on having a healthy relationship with yourself again. Wow. So when you're recovering from the abuse of a narcissist, work on yourself. Work on having a healthy relationship with yourself again. If you love a narcissist, you will probably show a lot of love to them and give a lot. Some wonder if the love was real when thinking back about it. Know the love you gave this person is very real and a great thing. It shows the love you can give, which is a beautiful thing. I hope you're able to show this same unconditional love to yourself. Of course. Whoa, but that sounds nice. I hope you are able to show the same unconditional love to yourself. Wow, what a very powerful statement to make. Narcissistic love. Narcissistic love is conditional love. The conditional aspect of love could be translated by the following examples of thoughts of a narcissist. I love how you're making me feel about myself. I love that you do whatever I like and that you love me. I have to say I love you to make you do what I want. I like to say I love you and see how you admire me saying it. A narcissist can thus love you because they love themselves and they think they deserve you. Or rather, they think you deserve them. You might improve their image of superiority and they could love to publicly parade with you. The reasons narcissists love are very different than those of a normal person. Practicality could be also a substitute for love to a narcissist. When this happens, they ask inner questions that are about themselves and not about whether they love someone. These questions could be about whether someone is a catch, the status, wealth of a person, and if someone gets a lot of love from friends and family. Others' inner questions might be about getting admiration, being less bored themselves, or needing someone to take care of them in some way. Some narcissists are malignant, some are ethical, and some don't have any ethics. This results in different views on relationships by narcissists and thus different behavior. All narcissists, however, will have a problem being in love permanently because of their love being conditional to their unending needs. Wow, that is so good. You can't satisfy their needs while being yourself because their needs aren't healthy, a bottomless pit or a black hole. Love bombing. The appearance of love, romance, and loving behavior. In the phase or moments of so-called love bombing, there will be a lot of romantic and loving behavior shown by a narcissist. You will be showered with compliments. They will tell you about their vision of the future with you, be interested in you, and it will just all seem perfect. They could say they are very proud of you, really appreciate you, and also show empathetic behavior. In this phase, a narcissist could truly believe and think they feel love for you. A narcissist can make you feel loved and be charming and make you the happiest person in the world. Sadly, it doesn't last, and it seems a way to invest in controlling you later on. They can withdraw their love and make you feel less worthy or have doubts about yourself. So true. You might think about how you can change yourself to make it right again when they withdraw their love. It's a dynamic where a narcissist changes behavior and the victim can't see it's not because of them. The victim will search within themselves, possibly cross boundaries, and act like themselves. That is so true. If experienced, you probably felt your intuition in this love bombing phase. It could seem they loved you very soon, or you might feel like they couldn't even know you from within yet. You might not even remember you actually falling for them, but rather you were overwhelmed by their determination. It's essential to trust your intuition in the future if you feel like this is true for you. Interestingly enough, I never experienced this. I didn't feel love bombed at all, ever. There was never any love bombing of any kind. Which is really interesting. That never actually happened. She never actually showed any form of love of any kind. I know this sounds awful because, she's not here to defend herself, but I can't recall genuinely her showing me love ever, really, real love. There are many different types of narcissists. Some narcissists use love bombing and seduction because they like to play the game of winning someone over. That's definitely not her. They will lose interest when they've won the game. That's in terms of me, right? Other narcissists convince themselves it's always the fault of the other person and chase an impossible expectation. The other person should be perfect and give unconditional love forever. They will idealize this person from the start and possibly fall in love. But as this perfect picture is something impossible, they will realize this person is not perfect. Their needs are not fulfilled, so they will devalue, blame, and discard this person. Narcissistic love is thus conditional love, given when their unending needs are being fulfilled for the time being. This disturbing setup means narcissistic love will always be temporary. Can someone that lacks emotional empathy love? Well, it's very interesting because in my situation, with my narcissist, if that's what she is. I'm still questioning whether she's completely a narcissist. As I said, there was no love from the beginning, and she remained in a relationship for a very long time, decades. So what does that tell me? It's telling me that could she genuinely have fooled herself that long? It doesn't make any sense. The simple answer to whether a narcissist can love you in the same way as you is no. When someone has narcissistic personality disorder, they can't experience and feel love the way you know it. A narcissist lacks the capacity to build a deeper connection with someone as they lack to build a deeper connection with themselves, which in and of itself is a very powerful statement. A narcissist's world revolves around craving for admiration and ego boosting. Once again, very covert, I must say, because she loves those little positive strokes that she gets from her friends, but I was giving her positive strokes too. So it doesn't make any sense why her friends' positive strokes would be any bigger or better than mine. Does that sound like narcissistic? By the way, I just said something that sounded narcissistic, and I keep always checking myself. Now that I know and have been researching the narcissistic subject quite a bit, I'm very cautious to make sure I'm not the one that's being the narcissist. The ego is not something real, however. It's a created identity that started believing in itself. There is no authenticity or truth within the ego. It means some narcissists can perfectly act or think they are in love and say and do all the right things. The lacking part is it being true or heartfelt. There could be a misconception that the identity created by their ego is an authentic soul, but it is not. Suppose someone is an empath. A lot of victims of narcissistic abuse are empaths because of the toxic attraction between an empath and a narcissist, opposites of each other. It is a very toxic relationship. I don't believe an empath can be truly loved by someone without empathy. I don't believe an empath can be truly loved by someone without empathy. She doesn't have any empathy, as far as I know, as far as I felt. A narcissist will not love you how you deserve to be loved. They are simply not capable. They are simply not capable because of their lack of empathy. A narcissist doesn't care for the needs or feelings of the other, and thus will the relationship be only about them. It's about their needs and their craving for attention, affirmation, and ego boosting. Obviously, if the relationship fulfills their narcissistic needs, they could be pleased with you and the relationship. It's conditional, but they couldn't care. That sounds right. In my case, this setup is toxic. It means they will love or care about you when you fill the narcissistic needs in the first place, and everything you do is about them. You need to cross your boundaries, become someone else, and ignore your own needs and feelings to do this. Conscience and love. My experience with a narcissistic father. I want to discuss why conscience was the most important factor for me instead of a lack of empathy or being self-served. At a certain moment in my youth, I realized my father couldn't possibly have a conscience. He did things I didn't know a human being was capable of, and he could lie about it, deny it, and act like it was normal. Gaslighting. This great discrepancy between his abnormal behavior and him appearing like it was normal and actually believing it was eye-opening. For me, it became clear he can't have a conscience, emotional empathy, and is thus incapable of unconditional love. I don't believe he chose to be like this consciously, and I merely thought it was sad someone was like this. It can't be healthy for a person or result in good energy. He did know theoretically what love was and could be charming, interested, take financial care of the family, and do activities with us children. There was a contrast, however, between this loving behavior and his constant need for validation, ego boosting, and admiration. This need clearly was more important or uncontrollable than being the nice father figure, and it showed. No foundation for a greater connection. This all meant to me that there is no foundation to build a deeper connection with my father, as there is no honesty or reason to trust him, because everything he does is appearance and an act. If nothing is true, only emptiness, superficialness, and manipulation remain. Even though he theoretically knows what's good, he still chooses to show a lot of unhealthy and disturbing behavior. I realized the lack of conscience was the most important factor in letting go of false hope and accepting the situation. I concluded, I don't have a father, but he is just someone I know. How can someone love without a conscience? How can someone love without a conscience? That's an interesting sentence. I'd probably say, how can someone affiliate without a conscience? Because he wasn't loving, right? Recently, I decided to go no contact, as I don't want this energy and I have to protect myself from his draining and manipulative behavior. Now I hope to help others. What is love to you, and what do you want? To conclude, the bottom line is that it doesn't matter whether a narcissist conditionally loves you or not. When someone is draining your energy with manipulative behavior, it's unhealthy in any way. It's unhealthy when the effect of a relationship or marriage is feeling drained, disconnected from yourself, anxious or less worthy. Even if you or this person feels love, it would be destructive and unhealthy. Does your partner enjoy you loving yourself, growing and developing as a person? When you're dealing with a narcissist, it's important to shift attention to yourself again. It matters whether you feel valued and your needs are met in the relationship. Do you feel loved, respected, and cared about? Well, totally not. None of those. I guess is the same for everybody, right? You can't change someone into having empathy and caring for others. You can't get a deeper connection with someone that doesn't have a foundation of truth or authenticity. There's no cure to heal them by loving them. The blind spot of a narcissist is the belief that they aren't one. And if they do know, they still can't change what they don't feel. They simply don't hear the music, and that's a sad thing. In my opinion, conditional love isn't love at all. Love doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be true. In the end, know that the only important question is what you want in a relationship and what is love for you. I wish you kindness and true love in the future. And that article was written by a saint called Sister Cake. She calls herself Cake because she makes such great cakes. And it came as a result of a video that I produced a little while ago, wherein I talked about my partner having left me for more than a year ago, but also even a whole year before that, we stopped being together, which was very, very sad, completely. She pulled herself away, went and decided to sleep in another room, and for no reason really, because I can't imagine why she did that. I can't imagine. It all started the week after there was an announcement of a lockdown on the 11th of March 2020. I began to see that we were living in the end times based on the readings of the patterns. And about a week and a half later, it was announced lockdowns, and I had to move my personal office and computers to my home. And she didn't like that. She didn't like me having to be home for 4 months, and that created massive stresses on our life. Now, there were other challenges before that, but we had just come back from a holiday, an overseas holiday where we had spent a month romantically together on a boat, traveling from island to island all over Asia. And there was absolutely no signs of us not having a proper and beautiful family and a relationship with each other. It all seemed idyllic and perfect. So what happened? I don't know. There were lots of reasons, and those reasons can be covered in other shows, but for the most part, she felt that I was now trying to save our friends, and she said, if you continue like this, we're going to lose all of our friends. And she didn't want to believe in what I was saying in terms of this being the mark, the abomination being the mark. And I kept warning everybody not to take it. And everybody kept falling into line and believing they should take it. And that put massive pressures. And eventually she was set right from the very beginning. She was set right from the start to go and get abominated. I don't think she ever really wanted to hear anything I was saying. And it's funny because, she and I went through decades together, and she knew how awake I was to everything. I called into question everything, from who built the pyramids really to, whether anything the governments were telling us was the truth or not. So she had the best mentor in-house. Anyway, we all learn. We all get to this stage in our lives where we must make choices to move either forward or try to save what we have. I've tried everything. I still try everything. I believe God's going to do something very special. But it's getting very close to midnight. Okay, brothers and sisters, I love you all. Thank you, Sister Cake, for this wonderful, wonderful message.